Deepak and I had been married for 5 years but we did not have any children till now. Deepak trusted me. I was barren but I lied to Deepak that the lady doctor had said that we would have a child very soon, and Deepak, he had also believed me, but now I could not lie anymore. I was tired of lying. I thought that I should tell the whole truth to my husband. Now I did not want to keep him deceived anymore. Before telling the truth, I once called my mother and asked what should I do now. Mom said, "You do this so that you get your husband married for the second time. Your husband will be grateful to you and will never think of leaving you, Mom." I was very angry after hearing this and was also sad. I felt that my mother was taking out a grudge against me because I had defamed her a lot. I said angrily, "Mom, I did not expect this from you at all." Having said this, I had switched off the phone out of anger. When Deepak came back home in the evening, he looked at me and asked, "What's the matter, Rupali? Why have you kept the room so dark?" I said, "Darkness has been written in my destiny. What should I do with that darkness?" "I am devastated," Deepak said. "Haven't you gone mad? Why are you talking like this? I am your husband, I am present with you, given by God, we have everything, then we made you sit. What has happened to you?" I told Deepak everything again. That I am infertile and I can never become a mother. Today I went to the doctor for a checkup. He said that you are infertile and now you will not be able to have a child for the rest of your life. After listening to me, Deepak lit up on his face for a moment. Sadness had emerged, but immediately she held my hand and said, "No problem, Rupali, you are enough for me, I don't want anything except you." I calmed down my mood after Deepak consoled me, but one day my mother-in-law said this. One day a neighbor came to our house and my mother-in-law asked her to find me a good girl because I want to get my son married for the second time. She said, "What happened to your first daughter-in-law that you want to get your son married for the second time?" Then my mother-in-law said, "That poor thing is barren, now we have to increase our breed, so I will have to get my son married for the second time." Hearing all these things, I started trembling. When Deepak came back home, I cried and told him the whole story. Deepak held my hand and took me out of the room and made me stand near his mother and said, "Mom, apart from Rupali, I can't even think of any girl. I can't, and I love my wife more than my children, that's why after today don't even discuss my second marriage." My mother-in-law shook her head angrily and said, "I have never seen a man who loves his barren wife so much." Nas throws tantrums while my courage increased after listening to Deepak's words. I became very happy that I have got such a loving husband. I thanked God in my heart for keeping Deepak's love for me like this. It was night. So I thought of making tea and giving it to Deepak. When I came to the kitchen to make tea, I heard a voice coming from my mother-in-law's room. I was shocked to hear my name. When I noticed, she was telling her daughter on the phone not to worry. "Do it, I will definitely divorce Rupali and marry Deepak for the second time. You do this so that you start looking for a good girl for him." Hearing these things, a burden fell on my heart. I came to the room and lay down without making tea. Now I have to take care of myself. I thought of my mother, but I did not like the advice she had given me last time. Like my mother-in-law, she also wanted to get my husband married for the second time. I reluctantly called my mother and I started crying. Mother said, "Rupali, son, where have you disappeared? Don't you want to talk to me?" I was surprised to hear mother's words. I did not know that my mother would be yearning for me. I started saying, "Mummy, my life was very good earlier. It was good, but ever since I came to know that I am infertile, there is a sword hanging over my head all the time. My mother-in-law has asked her neighbor to find a match for my son, and sometimes she tells her daughter that this I will bring the daughter-in-law of my choice. you find a relationship for your brother, mother. Deepak is a very good person. He fights with his mother for my sake, but after all, he is a man. For how long will he keep me as the queen of his heart? One day or the other. Then she will realize that there should be a child in her life and she will get married for the second time. Mom started saying, I realize what you must be going through at this time. That is why I told you that day that you should get Deepak's second marriage done by yourself. He will not leave his property worth crores just like that. It is obvious that he will want an heir. If not today, then tomorrow he will definitely start thinking about second marriage. If your husband marries a girl of his own choice, then imagine what will happen to you if you believe me and he marries a girl from a poor family. Get it done. She will remain subservient to you and will also be indebted to you and will never try to take your place. If she gives birth to children, you will also be entitled to be called an equal mother. After listening to my mother, I felt that she was absolutely right. I said, Mummy, if there is such a girl in your mind, then do tell me. I had thought that it is not possible for me to live in this house without getting Deepak married for the second time, although this thought was passing on my heart like a doom that I was getting my husband married with my own hands, but it was my compulsion and I had faith in Deepak that his love for me would never diminish, and that is why I started searching for a girl for Deepak secretly from my family members. She was the only daughter of the Chaudhry and Sarpanch of the village. My parents and brothers had devoted their lives to me. My life was very beautiful, but I was missing only one thing, and that was my relationship with my parents since childhood. It was decided only by me, and the name of the boy with whom my relationship was fixed was Manoj. He had not even seen the face of school till date, whereas I had done intermediate. In our village, if a girl passes intermediate, it was considered a big thing. And then Manoj was a very strange kind of person. Even my brothers had not received education, but still they were well-mannered. They knew how to talk. Mother had raised my brothers very well, but Manoj he was not even taught the etiquette of good and bad. He used to have affairs with every other girl of the village. Because of these actions of his, I started hating him very much. One thing about Manoj which I found very bad was that despite having affairs with every other girl in the village, he used to claim to love me. He used to call me Radha instead of Rupali. He used to tell me that Radha, I will die without you, and I used to tell Manoj that all the girls of the village are for you. Why are you after me? Then he says that only Krishna belongs to Radha, rest all are gopis. Once Manoj had brought glass bangles for me from the village fair. I used to get angry with these lawful antics of Manoj. Due to this action of mine, I saw tears in Manoj's eyes for the first time, and after seeing tears in Manoj's eyes, I realized my mistake, but Manoj was so depressed that the very next day I had seen it with my own eyes when I was roaming with a girl, and then the little sympathy that had arisen in my heart for him had also vanished. If my mother would talk to my father, he would say that there is no problem, Manoj is still a child, take care of yourself. Well, a few years ago, my elder brother had applied to build a hospital in the village. In those days, a team had come to the village and was examining the land etc. And then the foundation of a very big hospital was laid in the village. Everyone used to stay there in Papa's tent. After a few days, the team went back, but there was one person who did not go back, and his name was Deepak. He liked the climate of the village very much, so he took permission from Papa and stayed here for a few days. I had decided to stay. One day when I went out with my friends, my eyes fell on Deepak. I had liked Deepak at first sight. The sparkle in Deepak's eyes was telling that he had also liked me, and then the next once I went to meet Deepak himself, he smiled at me and said, I was also waiting for you. He gave me his mobile number. I called him from my mother's phone and the love between us started blossoming. He said, I felt that I want to include you in my life. Then I told him everything about my fiancé Manoj. He was very surprised to hear me and said that he is a very strange person. I stood with him for 2 minutes and talked to him. I told Deepak that he should come to my house with his relationship. Maybe my parents would feel pity on me. Deepak agreed and went back to the city, and then after a week I returned with my sister and my mother. She asked for my relationship but my father refused and I became very restless. I used to cry all the time. My sister-in-law and my mother used to try to console me. One day I decided to talk to my father. I told him that I cannot marry Manoj. Papa placed his hand on my head and he said, Son, I have promised Manoj's mother and now she is no longer in this world. I cannot break the promise made to Manoj's late mother like this. I was very sad to hear father's words. I had tears in my eyes. Papa said, no problem, he will get better with time. If a woman is good and loyal, she can cure even the worst boy. Papa went out saying this. I had called Deepak at that very moment. I was in a bad mood. She was crying and he said, don't worry, I will not let you get ruined like this. I am coming to take you. And then I also ran away to the city with Deepak. I knew that my father would be disgraced but I was helpless. I did not want to lose Deepak. Deepak married me and took me to his home, but when Deepak's mother came to know that Deepak had thrown me away from home, she said, Son, you cannot compete with the Chaudhry of the village. I am afraid that he may do you some harm. Deepak was also the son of a millionaire father, but my mother-in-law was a bit old-fashioned. She did not accept the girl who had run away from home as her daughter-in-law. She did not accept anything between me and Deepak. Every possible effort was made to create divisions, but Deepak proved to be a good husband. He respected me at every turn of life. It was also God's grace that my father and brothers had not followed me, otherwise my life would have become hell. Well, hell was still there because I knew that I was infertile and could not give birth to a child. I was thinking that all this happening to me is not the result of the bad blessings of my parents. Well, now I have married my husband. I had decided to get married for the second time. I did not want to let my life get ruined due to the stubbornness of my breath. That is why I secretly got a woman from the neighborhood with me in exchange of some money. I told her that you give me the relationship of some helpless poor girl and no one should know about this. That woman had called me to her house very secretly. She had placed a picture of a girl in front of me. I was shocked to see her beauty. She was astounded. It seemed as if she was a piece of the moon. The woman in the relationship started saying that this girl is an orphan and lives with her uncle. Her aunt wants her to go to her home as soon as possible. I am the girl's. Seeing the picture, auntie said, I will never marry my husband to this girl. Look at her beauty, my husband will go crazy in love with her. The woman said, Son, this relationship is very good, don't let it go, she is very simple. She is a simple girl and will remain submissive in front of you. I was reluctant to agree but I accepted the relationship with that girl named Naina. When I reached home with the picture, I saw a very strange scene. My husband was sitting on the sofa while my breath and Nand was sitting in front of him. My sister-in-law said, Brother, why do you want to spend your life with a barren girl? I and mom have found a very good girl for you, you marry her, on which Deepak said, both of you, now enough. Do it, I have not committed such a big crime by marrying as per my choice that you keep giving me insults all the time. I have told you that I will not accept anyone except Rupali, she is my wife and will remain my wife till my death. While Sansa and Nand's words had pierced my heart, I had got a lot of courage after listening to Deepak's words. I went into the room without saying anything to him. After some time, Deepak also came behind me and he started saying, "You don't take mom and sister's words to heart." I said, "You should get married for the second time." Deepak was surprised at my words. He said, "I can't do this at all." I said, "I am allowing you to get married for the second time, but you are my choice. I will marry only the girl of my mother's choice, not the girl of my mother's choice." Deepak said, "I cannot accept anyone other than you, whether she is of your choice or mother's choice, it does not matter." I said, "I wish to have a child. If you get married, then we will also have children at home. My longing for love will get solace." Deepak refused and went out of the room while I sat there crying. The truth is that I had no desire to have children. She was doing all this just because of the fear of losing Deepak. Well, there was resentment between me and Deepak for some days, but I prepared him for second marriage by crying. But I was not happy. I had made Nana my friend, and the day Nana came to my house as my step-in-law, my mother-in-law created a lot of ruckus. She even had a big fight with Deepak that at least he should marry me for the second time as per my wish. I should have felt relieved seeing my breath burning like this, but I had spent the whole night on the embers. I had been crying the whole night. This thought was enough to pierce my soul, that the person whose eyes were only for me. There used to be love. Today he would be smiling at someone else. Today someone else would be sleeping in the arms of the person in whose arms I had been sleeping. I was not getting peace for a moment. I had spent the whole night trying to get it done. When morning came, I quickly came out of my room because I wanted to meet Deepak, but he had not come out of the room even after 12 o'clock in the day. When I asked my sister-in-law Naina, she said that Deepak is sleeping. I stared at her and said, "You didn't wake her up." Then Naina started crying and said, "Deepak told me that he has done this marriage only because of your stubbornness, and now I will not claim my rights on him in any way. So he will divorce me and throw me out of the house. I apologize to you. I can't dare to wake him up. If he throws me out of his house, then where will I go? I can't even think of going to my aunt's house again. My aunt will leave me. But the auntie who arranges the relationship is very cruel. She was really a very helpless girl and found me. Well, I thought that Deepak would be angry with me and would come out of the room on his own when his mood gets better, but this was my misconception. Deepak. Today was the third day of Naina's marriage, but he had not yet come out of the room. Now I started having strange thoughts, so one day when Naina was busy in the kitchen, I went to her room. Deepak was busy on his mobile. Hearing the voice, he said, "You have come, my dear Naina." Was it the words or the hammer that hit my head? I came back to them with my footsteps. In just 3 days, Naina had made Deepak her own. Tears started flowing from my eyes. My heart was in great pain. I went towards my mother-in-law's room, then I came to know that my sister-in-law had also come. My mother-in-law was saying to her daughter, "See how wise your mother is. I made a single move and the snake also died. And the stick didn't even break. Poor Rupali doesn't even know that the girl with whom she got her husband married was the girl of my choice, and then Deepak too had fallen in love with Naina at first sight. All this is due to this greedy woman." My heart started bursting after hearing all this. My heart started bursting because of the one who had fooled Rupali. My breath further said, "I have fed Rupali so many pills to prevent her from having a child that now she has really become an oak." These were the words that the stones were raining on my body. I quickly went towards my husband's room so that I could tell him to come and listen to his mother and sister about how much they had tortured me. When I went towards Deepak's room, he saw Naina. I was telling him that I had taken a very wrong decision out of emotion when I had eloped with Rupali. Shortly after the marriage, I started realizing my mistake, but by then it was too late for Rupali's brothers to know. It had happened that she had come with me. That is why he kept calling me and threatening me that our sister has definitely run away from home, but still she is not alone. If you do not take care of our sister, then your consequences will be bad. I had come to stay there. I know how dangerous those people are. That's why I couldn't even think of leaving Rupali. Now mom, along with a woman from the locality, made my wife crazy, and at her hands, I got married to you and my darling Nana. You two have already caught my eye. Now you will stay with me for the rest of my life. Hey, what was I listening to? It was the same Deepak because of whom I put myself at stake. I went to Deepak's room quietly. I was surprised to see him in front of me. He probably did not expect that I would know his secret so soon. I said, if you had to leave Deepak, you would have left me just like that. Was it necessary to turn me into an oak tree? Was it necessary to snatch away God's gift from a person, his blood? It is equivalent to paying tax. All of you together have killed me senseless. Saying this, I came out of his room. He came after me, kept knocking on the door of the room, but I did not open the door. Then in the same night I left Deepak's house and his life. I had come out forever. Now I live in an orphanage. I have not yet divorced Deepak because now I did not trust any man. Then what is the use of getting a divorce? I talked to my mother on the phone. She even comes to meet me. She wants to take me home, but I don't have the courage to face my brothers and my father. One day I was sitting in tears crying over my fate. Then the guard sitting outside came to me. He had an envelope in his hand, and while giving it to me, he said, "Madam, a man has given this envelope for you." As soon as I looked at that envelope, I thought of Deepak, and with this thought, immense hatred surged in my heart. I used to hate Deepak's very name and used to laugh at myself that I had once loved Deepak with all my heart. I wanted to pick up the envelope and throw it out right now, and I had moved ahead to fulfill this thought of mine. But then I thought, since when can Deepak be so kind to me that he would send me a gift? He is lost in his eyes, and after what he and his mother did to me, I cannot expect anything from Deepak. After thinking something, I took that envelope from that guard and sitting inside the room, when I opened that envelope, my breath was held up and down because it contained the same colorful glass bangles which Manoj had once given me. As soon as I saw those bangles, Manoj's face had flashed in front of my eyes. Whether or not these bangles were sent to me by Manoj, I immediately ran towards the door and asked the guard, who gave these bangles to you? Then he told that the man who gave them to me. The bangles given to me are long gone, but at the same time the man had said that if Rupali madam breaks these bangles, then you keep the pieces of these glass bangles safe and give me these broken glass bangles. Pieces. Manoj is the capital of my entire life. Suddenly my love-flooded tears were flowing wildly from my eyes. The face of loafer and careless Manoj started rotating in front of my eyes. Did Manoj still remember me? Did Manoj still love me? But I could no longer trust anyone. I came back to the room holding the glass bangles in my hand, and the next day when my mother came to meet me, I asked about Manoj and the story about Manoj that I got. My mother told me that my heart ached after listening to her. My mother told me that on the day you ran away from home with Deepak, Manoj had cried a lot due to his screams. The whole village was left holding its heart. He just screamed and screamed. Radha was calling Radha. I remembered that Manoj used to call me Radha. Mother told that after you left, he had completely changed. He had sold all his father's lands and opened a school in the village. He thought that you were illiterate. Due to her age, she left the school by hiring a teacher and started teaching the village children for free, and also started her own business in the city, which gradually progressed, and now by the grace of God, Manoj has there is no shortage of money, but as much as he has, he donates it to the poor. He says, what will I do by keeping so much money with me, when I don't have my Radha? He neither laughs nor speaks. He just remains silently lost in himself. When your father and I look at him, we realize that our own daughter is responsible for his condition. Hearing all this about Manoj, tears were flowing from my eyes. I wanted to meet Manoj as soon as possible. I didn't know why my heart was yearning to meet Manoj. I told my mother, Mummy, I want to meet Manoj once. After listening to me, my mother's eyes lit up and said, Rupali, if you want, then you can do it with Manoj. You can start a new life, he is still waiting for you, but now I was not worthy of Manoj. I was a barren woman and a married woman, but I wanted to meet Manoj once and apologize to him, which I did not know about his love. I could not recognize the lamp, and thinking it to be a diamond, I broke my head with a stone. I had reached Manoj's house with my mother. At that time, Manoj was not at home. The servant had made me sit outside in the hall. Mother and I were quite late, but Manoj had not come yet. Then I asked the servant and went to Manoj's room. The room was clean and tidy. It did not look like Vikas's room from anywhere. It seemed as if it was the room of a very educated person, and then suddenly my eyes fell on such a thing that I was sitting holding the same heart, and in the mirror frame on the wall in front of me, Radha was written with pieces of the same broken glass bangles, which means that Manoj loved me so much from that very moment and I was his. I could not recognize love when Manoj gifted me bangles for the first time, and I crushed them with my feet and broke them. I had kept the pieces safely and had kept them safely till today. Tears were flowing from my eyes, and I did not realize that Manoj had come and stood behind me, and when he called Radha, I suddenly turned around. I was completely unrecognizable. That lazy loafer like Manoj was lost somewhere. There was a gentleman standing in front of me, looking at whom I could not say that he was illiterate. I suddenly hugged Manoj while crying. I had broken all the decorum. I had forgotten that I was married and I had no relation with Manoj. Manoj stood like this for a long time, and I was lying close to Manoj's chest. Only these words were coming out of my mouth. Manoj, forgive me, I hurt you. Maybe that's why God has given me such a big punishment. After a long time, Manoj placed his hand on my head and said, Radha, I never blamed you. It was my fault that I was yours. My expectations were not fulfilled. I separated from Manoj's chest while digesting tears. After some time, Manoj said, Radha, the doors of my heart are still open for you. There is no other girl in my heart except you. If you want, you can take a peek. For a moment, the same mischief had appeared on Manoj's face which used to be on Manoj's face when he was carefree 5 years ago. I cried and said, Manoj, now I am not worthy of your love. I am Deepak's ready wife, and I am an infertile woman to whom Manoj had said, Radha, you are the same Radha for me years ago whom I loved deeply, and even today I love her equally. It doesn't matter to me that you are married and barren. But I could not be so selfish that instead of filling light in Manoj's life, I would fill darkness in his life. I could not give him the happiness of children, and the wound that Deepak had given me was still fresh. I don't know why my heart is now. I was not trusting any man. A man is a man. It may not happen that tomorrow Manoj also starts desiring children and he steals his eyes from me. I ran out crying and came back to my home holding my mother's hand. Seeing my condition, my father and my brothers also forgave me. The next day Manoj came to me and said in sad words that Radha, I did not know that my love was so hollow that God had given me someone else. Gave me a chance once, and even then you rejected my love. If you don't accept my love today, I will go away from your life forever. I will never come back to you. I have brought these glass bangles for you. If you accept my love, Then wear them and come out, otherwise break them and bring them to me. Saying this, Manoj left those glass bangles on my bed. I kept looking at those glass bangles for a long time. God gave me another one. I was given a chance to find true love, and now I did not want to miss that opportunity. I picked up those glass bangles and wore them in my hands. When I took them out, Manoj was busy talking with Mom. He had kept his hands behind his back. Seeing me coming out, the color of Manoj's face changed. He was probably thinking that I had brought the bangles in pieces, and when I came in front of him and showed my hands, he jumped with joy. He had kissed my hands without considering Mom. Mom had especially made me feel her presence, so he had quickly left my hands. I had run away to my room laughing. As soon as I said yes, the wedding preparations started. On the other hand, my brothers and father had filed an application in the court to get divorce from Deepak. Within a week, Deepak and I got divorced and I got married to Manoj. My parents celebrated my marriage with great pomp. It seemed as if this marriage is my first marriage. I was now realizing the happiness of marriage. Before this, I had just had a court marriage with Deepak. I was sitting on the wedding bed, waiting for Manoj. When I was there was no shadow of any lamp in my heart. My heart was beating only with the name of Manoj, and when Manoj came into the room, I sat even more close, and when Manoj took me in his arms, my ears started beating. Taking my face near her, I said in an intoxicated tone that Radha, I did not tell you that Radha belongs only to Krishna and all the rest are gopis, so I shyly hid my head in Manoj's chest. Manoj also hugged me tightly in his arms. I was filled with the feeling that life with Manoj would become so beautiful. I never thought that a year had passed in the company of Manoj's love. I told Manoj the whole story of me and Deepak. Sunadi had started my treatment and the doctor had given me hope that after the treatment I could become a mother, and one day while shopping in the market I met Deepak, but there was no glow on Deepak's face. As soon as he saw me, he came to me, folded his hands and apologized to me. He said, Rupali, God has punished me for what I and my mother did to you. My mother has become paralyzed and is lying on the bed. Grandson to my mother. There was a hurry to feed, and when Nana did not get pregnant even after 1 year of marriage, then I and Nana got our tests done, in which Nana's report was normal, but my report came that I can never become a father. Now Nana is making me infertile day and night. Rupali taunts me for being there. I miss your love a lot, but now I can't do anything. You are gone from my life, but I can do only one thing. That is to apologize to you with folded hands. If you can forgive, then please definitely. Maybe by your forgiveness, the pain that has come in my life will be reduced a little. I held Manoj's hand tightly, and looking at Manoj, I told Deepak that Deepak, I have forgiven you when God gave you your. If you have punished me for what you did, then who am I to punish you? And after saying this I moved ahead. Deepak kept looking at me like a lost gambler, and I was in the hands of Manoj and was moving ahead in life. Happiness was only happiness for me. Friends, how did you like the video? Do tell by commenting. Like the video and subscribe the channel.